Hi, I'm Jamison, and I'm here with artist-in-resident Aurélien, who is just finishing a residency at Tom House. Thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Um, why don't you start by telling us where you come from and how you got connected to Tom House and started your residency?
So I grew up in Paris, France, which is where I live now. And I heard of this residency through Florian Hetz, who is a Berlin-based artist, and just left actually here to go back to Berlin. We DM'd at some point last year, and he told me about it, and here I am.
Amazing. We're happy that you got connected. So tell me, when you connected with Florian, you got hooked into Tom House. What was it about this place or this experience that drew you in, that made you want to fly out to LA and join all of these crazy people?
Well, there were a couple of obvious reasons. First of all, the setting. I think, especially as a foreigner, LA is a cultural center of the U.S. That I didn't know at all. I used to live in New York for years, and I never got a chance to really spend some time here. So this residency was the perfect opportunity. It's also a place that preserves the legacy of Tom of Finland. So obviously, I think we'll talk a little bit more about that. But that was discovering Tom was foundational in my formation as an artist, as a gay artist, and it was kind of a no-brainer, to be connected to this place and be able to experience it was this kind of logical next step in my creative research.
Amazing. When I was on my way here to interview, I was thinking how we sort of had similar experiences in our residencies. I did mine in 2016, but I remember when you first arrived and we first had a conversation, and you were telling me, kind of because of that connection that you were saying, where it made, like, Tom of Finland was a no-brainer. Tell me about how, when you got here, you had kind of a specific idea of what you wanted to do, but then upon getting here, you shifted and you sort of changed direction in terms of your work.
Yeah, so I think I had a specific idea of what I wanted to do in continuation with the work that I've been doing already for years, and I guess I just naively assumed that I was going to come into this space that was going to be more conducive to being creatively productive than usual, and I was going to, feed a little bit into my work and go home. And what I hadn't anticipated was that it kind of brought into question a lot more things than I expected. Not only about my work and my creative process, but even about my existence and things that were a lot bigger than what I expected to kind of find here, and things that go way beyond art also, being connected to other people who have very different backgrounds, histories are from even completely different generations.
Yeah.
Everything was kind of turned around, and I realized after a week or two of being here, I had to kind of begin my thinking from scratch again.
So, I wanna know specifically about your work, but first, I'd love to know more. Like, can you talk about specifically how this community impacted you and how meeting this diverse group of people, I guess, influenced you in a way that was unexpected? Like, do you have a specific?
Yeah, I guess, I'm gonna get a little personal here,
Yeah,
and
please.
I guess this comes partly because of my age and stuff, but I guess I was never able until now to present my work, and the individual that comes with it to this array of people that were not only artists but also LGBT, that were already part of this community that knew itself and was kind of already its own environment. of
Yeah.
like, I don't know if it's LA or East LA or what kind of niche it is, but I arrived into this ecosystem that was already there, and that is spot for me. And people were speaking this language that I spoke too, but
Yeah.
I felt like for the longest time I was just kind of walking this path alone until I get to this like big field full of people who like see me, you know. And I think that was a big part in the application process. When I got an answer back that was positive, it felt like this is amazing. These people who have um, you know, a creative legacy are seeing my work, and that was important for me. I think it was a big first.
Cool. Okay, so you arrive at Tom House and you meet this amazing community that supports you and understands you. Once you stabilized yourself at the house, you kind of got your bearings. Tell me what your project became and what you decided to do during your residency there, artistically.
So I guess to talk about that, I should talk about what I was doing before I came,
Yes.
which consists of nude collaborative self-portraits in dialogue with other people and an exploration of their sex life, behavior, and identity. And like I was saying, I thought I was just gonna come here, do a little more of the same, and leave. And I guess what really troubled me at first was the outpour of support. You know, like, what do you need? You know, how much time, how much space, how many models, like, we can help you.
Yeah.
And at first I was a little distraught because coming here put everything into question. So for the first month, a little less, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was acclimating to the space.
Totally.
And so what I set out to do was to meet these people that I was going to be able to connect with, to kind of, without overthinking it, try to carry this idea here and see what changed, basically. If it worked, if it didn't, why. You know, one challenge that was interesting was that it's usually a pretty lengthy process to kind of get people to open up like that.
Yeah.
And here I had a set amount of time. You know, the pretty early, a date was set for me to present my work, so I was kind of like, it's now or never, you know. And what I thought was interesting of what I found was that I was able to find intimacy within other people very easily and very quickly in very surprising moments. And then in other situations, I was faced with this utter, complete disconnect. Like, we weren't even speaking the same language. It felt a little bit, it was frustrating at first to realize, well, you can't control that. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, I might do all of these situations, all these shoots, and they're all gonna suck. And you can't really know, but then giving up control, I think, is part of what makes it exciting and interesting.
Yeah. Well, so tell me about where you got to. Tell me about the show that you exhibited and how you got from that expectation of what your experience was going to be into what it actually became.
I guess I don't remember what my expectation was before because it's been shattered into so many pieces. That I guess what I feel like I came up with in the end here was this. For me, it presents this array of situations where sometimes I connected really well with these people and, you know, developed incredible feelings for them, and other times that research wasn't working. I wasn't getting anywhere. But you know, you still have to try and get somewhere, even to kind of like accept that it's not gonna be the way you planned. I was able to meet a lot of people who are, I would say, more at ease with the camera or more professionally skilled. They know how to model. They work in entertainment, porn, whatever it might be, fashion. That was that was fascinating to me because
And do you feel that that was specific to LA or being
Yeah.
connected to this residency?
I think it was a mixture of both,
Mhm.
based on the people who come to LA and the kind of jobs they're looking for, and then the people who come to this foundation
Mhm.
and the kind of experiences they're looking for here. It was definitely a very kind of unique pool of people that felt very LA to me.
Mhm.
That was already something I couldn't have predicted, you
Mhm.
know. Um, and I was hearing about a lot of experiences um, that weren't new to me, but they were new firsthand in hearing these people talk about them. Like, um, from, going on a really intense steroid cycle to, being a black gay man in LA. And I was seeing this incredible diversity of experiences that ultimately I did feel at some point like I would like this to show. And I think in that process I was already kind of maybe disarmed a little bit by all of the elements that I was trying to bring in, but I think there's a real diversity of people in LA um, that you can really easily tap into.
Yeah.
People are very open.
Yeah. One of the things that was really engaging to me about the work that you did during this residency is the way in which you interact with the audience. And so you're featured prominently in your work, and in many of the photos there's a connection to the audience. Either you're looking at camera or there's some kind of shared communion with the audience, and I'm wondering if you can talk a bit about what your intention was with that.
So that is a visual thread that is very consistent to my work. It started originally out of guilt and out of shame. Very honestly, I started this project when I was 19 years old, and I was trying to look at myself in the mirror and accept myself. I guess that sounds, maybe a little cheesy or even unnecessary in today's world, but anyways, we all have our own struggles.
Yeah.
And so it was a way for me to look at myself, and through that to really look at the viewer and I think address the viewer's shame. Realize that my shame really wasn't my own. I had absorbed it from this world and I didn't want it. And so it became a visual thread for that reason, and also because I always tried to work with, I always found the people wherever I could, and a lot of these people, they have lives that don't match with their sex lives. They have to keep it separate. And for that reason, a lot of the models I found accepted to work with me on condition of anonymity. So I needed a thread to kind of tie the work together, and so that was me.
Cool. I mean, I guess my final question is now that you've had the experience, you've had a successful show, you're headed back to Paris, what are you taking with you that you didn't have before? And if you were to say something to the resident that's following you, a piece of advice or knowledge that you'd share?
Well, what I'm taking with me, I think that's very personal, is kind of the proof and realization that we are definitely not alone. I think it's easy to feel like there's not a lot of us, or that we are a little bit hidden, but really we are everywhere, and it's really just a matter of connecting to other people. So what I'm leaving with is basically a community, that I can always consult, nourish, participate in.
Of course.
Basically have by my side for like all of my life, and also, change it, improve it, question it, just make sure that it's relevant to me the way that it's relevant to all of my brothers and sisters. And my advice for the next artist in residence would probably be, don't come here with any set ideas, and don't freak out if you're not doing anything in the first month. Because you're actually doing a lot. You just don't
Yes.
think you are.
Oh my God. Yes, that's amazing. Well, thank you
Of course.
for chatting with us. This is Aurélien. He's headed back to Paris May 31st, and you can check out his show until then at Tom House. It's called Enough Man. Check him out. Thanks, guys.